was watching my YouTube subscriptions, which I do. There was a lot of videos to watch today, just because I've been having such a hard time. I really haven't been keeping up with them, and it's just amazing what you can see, you know, while you're following people. But there was this amazing video today talking about memories prior to transition, like things that helped you identify and things that led you to where you are today. And I thought I would make a video like that. I don't think it's a topic that we have on the It's a Man's World channel, so I'm just gonna do it here. Pardon my crazy hair. I woke up recently, my whole room is a mess, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? I'm still amazing. So spent the last week or so just hanging out with a lot of teenagers, and I'm just remembering all these things. All these things are coming back of when I was a teenager. So this video is sort of topical, but to my life. I have so many memories of when I was younger that were so odd. 7 was a hugely formative year for me. I started being expressive and just doing things that were totally atypical. I went to Catholic schools for the majority of my school experience. I went to a school run by nuns until I was 11, at which point we moved to a different country. And then I went to an all-girl Catholic school, which was a nightmare. But I never had really any friends in school, ever. I was always weird. The girls would never play with me, which is why I feel I probably can't socialize with women now, regardless of the fact that I just don't relate to them. I just don't have any experience doing it. Because while I did have a few girl crushes and, you know, primary friends, like friends who were like closest to me, or who I felt were closest to me, or who I was closest to, happened to be girls, just because that's who my peer group was supposed to be. When lunch came around, the girls would never want to play with me. They would always kick me out of their play circles, and I would always end up playing with the boys, who would end up bullying me because I was the only girl who was playing with them. When we started doing gender neutral play, like we started playing cards when I was 10 or 9, that's when I really shone, because it didn't matter what gender I was. I could just fit in, bring my own deck of cards, and just play with whoever I wanted. And that's probably why I'm so into cards right now. I've been trying to run a Fridays gaming group, and I always bring a deck of cards, and I usually have a deck of cards with me no matter where I am. I just carry them with me. But that's also related to some other stuff. When I was 7, that's going back to where I was going now. When I was 7, I was allowed to have Barbies when I was little, but I wasn't allowed to have Ken dolls, because my mother figured that they would create sexual knowledge or something, and she's pretty closed-minded, and she wants us to be very safe and unaware of how the world works. So when I was 7 and I wasn't allowed to have Ken dolls, I would take the Barbies that I liked the least and chop off their hair and flip their chest around. So it was their back would be their chest, and their breasts would be on their backs. And this was perfectly normal to me. It made perfect sense. Oh, well, I can't have a man. Well, she will be the man. And you're a man, and you have a butch haircut. And regardless of having Ken dolls or not, my Barbies still had a lot of sexual experimentation going on. So, even though I didn't really understand sex for several years, they had a lot of sex. A lot of sex. And even though there weren't any men around. So and I originally used that as a memory for, like, as a reason for why I was a lesbian years later. But on further examination, totally transgender Barbie. Totally. Well, just cut the breasts off and cut her hair, and she's a man. Done. But it's so messed up. I remember also, besides not really identifying with girls, not identifying with girls who all they could talk about was makeup and crushes and purses and going to dances, you know, I had to fake having celebrity crushes when I was young. I don't even have celebrity crushes now. Like, oh yeah, he's hot, and then I forget about them, because they're not real, you know, they're not someone I'll ever meet or have a relationship with. So why would I develop a crush on someone whom I will never see or talk to? I mean, that doesn't make sense. I'd much rather have crushes on people that I know and I think are sexy and I see daily, you know. But even so, due to my dysphoria and my inability to express myself in a masculine way because my voice is not deeper and so on, and I do have moves or breast cancer or whatever they call it, you know, so I could never, I had to fake having celebrity crushes when I was 16 years old, and that was really weird. But I wasn't capable of socializing with men or guys or boys when I was 16 because it was an all-girl school and I had to wear a skirt. I had a uniform in both schools that I went to. I had a uniform. I had no way of changing my gender expression because I didn't have a choice in what I wore. So I was uncomfortable, you know, for 15 years of school, not 15, 10 years of school, because I couldn't change what I looked like on the outside, and I couldn't change what outfits I wore that would diminish or accent or whatever things I wanted to, and hide the things I didn't want to be seen. But also being in a Catholic environment where there was gender segregation and the binary was very much enforced made it very hard to even understand that there were options outside of that, you know. And I did play sports in high school. I did play basketball. I was in the softball league, but I'm a very phlegmatic person, so I don't even have a, you know, traditional male pattern to rely on and say, well, this is what made me a man, because I didn't have the option of exploring those things. I would love to have been in a woodshop class. It's creative and it's masculine. I would have loved to have a class for like auto repair, you know, like garage shop class. Girls' schools don't offer that. Catholic girls' schools don't offer that. You know, I did play with dolls when I was little because that's what I was given. But when my brother got Legos or Kinects or robots, I was all over that shit. I was all over it. But then I wasn't allowed to play with the battleships and the, you know, pirate ships and the forts. So I got stuck making whatever I could out of whatever I could. So I built pizza parlors for the pirates and the ninjas to come eat at. Because I like cooking, so that just made sense to me. And me and my sister did fight over the girl faces, but most of mine were dudes, and that was fine. Well, I did enjoy sports because I'm just kind of non-physical. I'm not physically active. I'm just a cheetah in the mental department. My mind just races, but when it comes to like physical activity, I've always been the one who, hey, we have to move this heavy piece of furniture. I'd be the one who did it. Or there's heavy lifting to be done. I'd be the one who did it. So I did do like the heavy lifting, but I never did any of like the track, run around type stuff. I like sports like in baseball, you sit around for half the time and then you stand for half the time. But you only run, you know, twice or 3 times a game or something. And I was a pinch hitter, so I could hit like Babe Ruth, but they always had the actual person run the track, so I didn't even have to run. It was brilliant. It was amazing. I was pretty good at basketball though when I played because of the hand-eye coordination. Again, that's a manual dexterity as opposed to physical dexterity. I've drawn a lot of porn though, which most girls don't do. Girls don't usually draw porn. Guys usually draw porn. I draw a lot of porn, but I'm an artist, and so that's how my gender expressed, you know. I remember liking cutting my hair short. The first time I was allowed to cut my hair short, really short, I was like 16. And it was still a feminine haircut, but I just loved that half of it was as short as I wanted, and the other half, well, you know, it was in at the time. And I really liked having my hair short. And I was dared a few years ago, like 4 years ago, to grow my hair out for 2 years. And I love a challenge. So I said, fine, I'll do it. So I didn't cut it for 2 years. It looked awful. I mean, I talked about this in one of my previous videos. But as soon as I could cut it, the mohawk came back, you know. And even now, just getting this hair done, it's like pulling teeth. Just to get my sister, who is incredibly feminine and incredibly female, to agree that I want my hair. Like, I can't get this shorter. She won't cut this shorter, even though I want her to, because it's against her professional and personal standards or something. You know, I wear gender neutral shirts. I wear pants that I like regardless of the gender, but primarily because in order to fit my body, they have to be girl pants, or, you know, the frickin', I mean, buying clothes when you're overweight is ridiculous in general. But I've tried in the past, like in the past when I was like 16, 17, I did go to the men's department when I was thinner and buy men's clothes, men's pants, men's shirts, men's blouses, you know, whatever. I still don't know if a blouse is female or male, or if it can be both. Language differences. A lot of American words for things sometimes blend in my mind, where for Americans they're very much, this is what they are, so whatever. I did wear purely men's clothes for a long time, until I got too fat to wear them. There was a period where I had to buy female clothes just because of my size, but if I can't, I've been buying gender neutral funny t-shirts for a long time, and I just wear as many hoodies as I can, as long as the weather permits. You know, gender neutral or masculine forever. So, you know, but when I was younger, I didn't know that I had that option, and I didn't really, because what I wore was very much determined by my parents. You know, we're not going to buy that for you, we're going to buy this for you. But I knew that I resented being dressed. Like, there was this one time when I was really little in Puerto Rico, there's this thing about dressing girls up in, like, you know, like for their sweet 15, quinceañera, and things like that, where you dress them up in, like, frilly dresses with, like, the puffy sleeves and, like, the big skirts. And I remember just being really, really uncomfortable wearing things like that. And as soon as I could, just running home and putting on anything else. But I could choose between the super frilly girly stuff or just girly stuff, and so I just went with girly stuff. But there was a period where I wore a lot of, like, Bermuda shorts. It looked really bad, but they were really comfortable, and I liked that I didn't have to express myself in a way that was very feminine. And it's always been a fight. It's always been a fight in this family to be in any way different. I stopped shaving my eyebrows, waxing my eyebrows, whatever, and they look like hell, but I know that when the tea starts, they're gonna fill in and they're gonna look less weird. But you know, it's like I've had facial hair since I was little. A lot of Hispanic women do, and it's just a matter of I gotta shave it because I'm not supposed to have any. And you know, I haven't shaved my legs in forever. I didn't shave my legs in high school even, and I don't, you know, shave other body hair, but I shave my head. So, I mean, what exactly tells you that you're male? I don't know, I just feel male. I just think male. Sometimes I see things that I say and things that I think and, like, that I express, and I go, man, how could anyone ever confuse me for a female when I talk or think or say things like this? It just doesn't make sense. But I guess being brought up as a female in a place where that was the only option, where you couldn't even express, you know, like some of them say, well, I wore Adidas training pants. I was not athletic at all, so it made no sense to buy that, you know. But being brought up female for a long time with no options does affect you, does affect the hobbies that you pick up and the things that you do, and how, you know, how you look at the world. Which is why I'm not sure I'll ever be 100% convincingly male, just because I do have feminine parts to my expression and my personality, and there are things that I experimented with as a female when I was younger that, you know, still hold interest. Like, I enjoy crazy eye makeup. I don't use it. I did when I was younger, but I still think it's awesome and attractive, and I would still like to do it, but I cannot do it when I'm female because it demanlifies me or something. You know, I don't know. It gets complicated. There's so many things that you look at and you realize that, why did I not know sooner, you know? I've always hated my breasts. I started developing breasts just because I was heavy when I was about 9. I mean, they were small, but I was developing something. Strapless bras were really big at the time in the 80s, right? So I wore a strapless bra for like a minute, and it would just kind of do this, kind of roll down my body and just kind of sit like a belt, and then I stopped messing with it. Since that strapless bra experiment, I've pretty much just been wearing sports bras, if anything. Like, undergarments for women that just sort of sit there, or sports bras. Like, I've never really, bras just don't work for me. They're uncomfortable, they're stupid, they create focus, which I don't want people to focus on, and it's a conversation that I've had so many times. You know, I wish my breasts were Velcro, like, or Mr. Potato Head, and you could just go, here, you can have them. I don't want them. You want more, take mine. Please. Please take my wife. You know, like, I've never wanted breasts, and I remember struggling with that for a really long time, and doing whatever I could to hide it, or to just make it a non-issue, but it's just made me really uncomfortable for so long. And it's something that I've talked about with my family, like, oh, you want more breasts, here, take these, you know, and they keep telling me, like, if you were 100 pounds, like, if you weighed nothing, you wouldn't have breasts. So, you know, that's true for most people. And that would involve me, you know, not hating myself and eating better and working out more, which is really hard now because I'm so heavy. But anyway, this video is really sort of just a ramble. Looking back, it's like, duh. I don't know. I had a purse once. My grandmother gave me a purse, and I really loved that purse. I think more because my grandmother gave it to me than because I had one. And later on, when I did get purses, they were usually cast-offs from the females in my family. But I was always go for the really big ones so I could throw a lot of stuff inside. They were like backpacks. That's what they were for. And they became very quickly replaced. Purses became very quickly replaced by messenger bags and backpacks. And there was a period where I was homeless for a while. And after I was allowed to come back home, I just still spent a lot of time being afraid that it wasn't going to last, that I was going to be homeless again. So I've always carried a lot of stuff just in case I'm homeless or I'm stuck somewhere for a long period of time. I'll be okay. I'll have some food because I've carried some of that with me, and I'll have something to keep me entertained and my mind off of food if I don't have any, or my mind off of the fact that I'm homeless. And it's gotten progressively better through the years. It's been a long time now. It's been like 11 years or so since I was homeless. No, 7, 8 years, I don't know, a long time. I don't take as many things with me as I used to. Like, I had a big backpack full of everything in the world that I found precious, so if I was gone, I didn't have to worry about not seeing it again. And then just taking the things that I would need if I was stuck somewhere by myself with no one else around. And then just the things that I need on a day-to-day basis, like, you know, my sketchbook, which went with me everywhere for a long time, and now I don't carry it anywhere, and things like that. And now, if I have my keys in my pocket, my cell phone, a cigarette, I'm good, you know. But it's been a long time of adjusting to the idea that, you know, I'm not going to be homeless tomorrow, even though for a long time that was a very real fear. I'm going to be homeless tomorrow. Even after logically it didn't seem possible that I was going to be homeless tomorrow, subconsciously that was a huge part of why I did anything for a long time. I just lived in fear, you know, but it was never like lipstick that I took with me. It was always like a deck of cards, or art stuff, or a Game Boy, you know, something electronic to keep my mind off of things. A cell phone if I had one, which I didn't have also for a long time. A wallet, just with that identification. I used to take my passport, my checkbook, my birth certificate, all my stuff with me, just so that I would have that in case anything happened, in case I suddenly had to flee the country, you know. It's very weird. But it's becoming a lot less, and I take very little with me, unless I know for a particular day I'm going to need something. I leave the house with nothing, just whatever's in my pocket, and that's usually enough. Yeah, that was really damaging. That was really damaging, and that probably hurt the process. You know, that was in my 20s. That was a lot of my early 20s was like that. I'm not sure, as much as I regret not transitioning earlier, I'm not sure I would have been able to, just because I had so many other things on my plate at the time that were masking the problem, you know. I was addicted to survival instead of really being introspective and figuring out who I was and what I was doing. But seeing teenagers nowadays and how they suffer and the angst they have to deal with and all this stuff, I'm so glad I'm not 16 anymore, or 17, or 18, or 19. Just so much crap to deal with. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys on Sunday for sex toys. Even though it's not going to be as exciting as you think it's going to be. See you guys then. Bye.